One small moment can change everything. For a black teenager, that moment came on an ordinary evening when the police stopped him for no reason at all. What should have been a normal walk home quickly turned into fear and tension. The officers looked at him with suspicion, treating him like a criminal. But what they didn't know was that this teen wasn't just any kid. His father was someone they would soon regret underestimating. Stay with me till the end, because this story has a twist you won't forget. And if stories like this touch you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. The teenager's name was Marcus, a 16-year-old high school student who lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood. He wasn't the kind of kid who got into trouble. In fact, Marcus was known for his calm nature, his love for basketball, and the way he always tried to help his classmates when they struggled. His evenings usually ended the same way, walking home after practice with his backpack slung over his shoulder, tired but happy. That evening, nothing felt unusual at first. Marcus hummed softly to himself as he walked, lost in thought about an upcoming game and the essay he still had to finish. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But in many neighborhoods across America, being young, black, and alone was enough to raise suspicion. As Marcus walked past a corner store, a police cruiser slowly rolled up beside him. At first, he thought nothing of it. Police cars often passed through the area. But when the car stopped and the headlights glared on him, his stomach tightened. Two officers stepped out, their eyes fixed on him. They didn't see Marcus, the hard-working student, the son, the teammate. They only saw a young black teen in the wrong place at the wrong time. Marcus froze for a moment, unsure of what he had done. His heart began to race as the officers moved closer. He felt a strange mix of confusion and fear, not knowing why he was suddenly under suspicion. What Marcus didn't realize was that this encounter was about to reveal more about who he was and who his father was than anyone expected. Marcus's mind raced. "Why me? What did I do?" One of them asked him where he was going. His voice edged with doubt, as if Marcus's very existence on that street needed an explanation. The other circled around him, glancing at his backpack as though it hid something dangerous. Marcus tried to answer calmly, his voice shaking, but the words didn't seem to make a difference. The officers weren't really listening. They had already decided he was guilty of something. Neighbors peeked through curtains, some whispering, some simply staring. Marcus felt his cheeks burn with embarrassment. The weight of their judgment pressed down on him harder than his school books ever could. Minutes stretched like hours. The officers asked him to empty his pockets, then questioned why he was out after dark. Every second felt like it could spiral into something worse. He had seen enough news stories to know that moments like this could turn dangerous very quickly. The longer it went on, the more the crowd around grew. A few people stopped to watch, whispering among themselves, but nobody stepped forward to help. Marcus felt completely alone, standing in the glare of police lights under the weight of suspicion he hadn't earned. Just when Marcus thought it couldn't get worse, one of the officers reached for his radio. They wanted to call in his name, check his record, dig into his life as if they were sure he was hiding something. Marcus's stomach dropped. He had nothing to hide, but the fear of being misunderstood, of being treated unfairly, gnawed at him. What Marcus didn't know was that this simple act, running his name, was about to change the entire situation. The officer pressed his radio and called in Marcus's full name. For Marcus, those few seconds felt like an eternity. His heart pounded in his chest as he stood under the harsh glow of the headlights, waiting for something, anything, that could either clear him or make things worse. The radio crackled back with a response. At first, the officer's face didn't change, but then his eyes widened slightly, and he glanced at his partner. Marcus noticed the shift. The officers suddenly seemed less certain, less aggressive. Their tone softened, their questions slowed, and the tension in their voices faded. Marcus couldn't understand what had changed. But the truth was now in the open. His father wasn't just another man in the neighborhood. He was a highly respected judge, a figure of authority that even the police knew they couldn't afford to mistreat. His father's name carried weight in courtrooms, newspapers, and across the city, and now standing in front of them was his son, the same teen they had just treated like a criminal. They knew word of this could spread, and with Marcus's father involved, the consequences could be severe. Marcus stood there, still shaken, still confused. He hadn't asked for his father's reputation to shield him. All he wanted was to be treated fairly, like any other kid walking home. But now, as the officers awkwardly told him he could go on, Marcus realized something deeper. If his father hadn't been who he was, this moment could have ended very differently. For the officers, it was a lesson in caution. For Marcus, it was a painful reminder that justice wasn't blind. It saw color, it saw power, and it saw status. And without his father's name, he knew the night might have ended in a way he didn't want to imagine. Marcus walked home that night with his backpack still heavy on his shoulders, but now it carried more than just books. It carried the weight of a truth he could no longer ignore. He realized he hadn't been treated fairly because of who he was, but because of who his father was. That protection felt less like a blessing and more like a painful reminder of the world he lived in. He thought about other kids who didn't have fathers in positions of power. What would happen to them in the same situation? How many of them faced the same fear, the same suspicion, but without anyone's name to shield them? The thought made his stomach twist. Justice wasn't equal, safety wasn't guaranteed, and respect wasn't something every teenager received. It depended on things they couldn't control. The next morning, Marcus's father learned what had happened. He was angry, not because his son had been stopped, but because the officers had only backed down once they realized who Marcus was related to. For him, it confirmed what he had seen for years inside the courtroom. Justice could be quick for some, delayed for others, and denied for many. This story isn't just about one teenager or one night. It's about a system that judges people not by their actions, but by the color of their skin and the status of their family. And until that changes, countless others will face the same unfairness. So ask yourself, if Marcus hadn't been the son of a judge, how would this story have ended? If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because the more we talk about injustice, the harder it becomes to ignore.